This is Indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed, in for Dr. Ritchie today. Jackson White joins us, Politics and Paper, baby. It's always good to be on with you, Jackson. Where are you coming from today? You're not
I'm in St. Louis. I'm in St. Louis. I got the Batman behind me. I got the Harry Potter references behind me. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my office chilling. It's a hot day, but it's cold in the house. That's why I got this jacket on.
Well, hey, you're always chilling and unbothered. And that's
as much as I can be.
As much as we all can be. It just is what it is. So I know you're a fan favorite too. And I think we should give the people what they're asking for and get after it right now.
Yes.
We'll begin, Jackson, with an update. The Army speaks about Trump, the Trump campaign, the Arlington National Cemetery incident. I mean, this is just embarrassing. So what are they saying? The United States Army has confirmed the allegations surrounding the Trump campaign during the former president's visit to the Arlington National Cemetery earlier this week. We brought it to you, all of the unfortunate details, at least what was breaking at the time. Federal law prohibits political campaign activities at all Army national cemeteries, including Arlington. Now, the Army noted in a statement that the cemetery conducts nearly 3,000 public ceremonies at the tomb of the unknown soldier a year without incident. And that ahead of its visit to Section 60 of the cemetery, which is reserved for recently deceased service members, Trump's team was, quote, made aware of federal laws. That's your first mistake. I mean, we know who does not respect federal or any law, really. But they did. Army regulations and DOD policies, which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds. Rolling Stone with the reporting. An ANC employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside by a member of Trump's staff, the statement continued. Consistent with the decorum expected at ANC, this employee acted with professionalism and avoided further disruption. What the Army saying is, you know, we make people aware. Most people are respectful, but if you're going to act up and act a fool, you know, love and hip hop style, honey boo boo, whatever your reference would be, they're not going to amp it up and match your energy because this is a sacred place, even if one party won't respect it. The Army added that the employee subsequently decided not to press charges and that the matter is now closed. Now, why did the Army have to put that in there? Well, we know. Because the employee believes, and indeed perhaps was assaulted. Criminally, there could have been action taken. So the Army is letting the rest of us know that the employee took the high road and decided not to do it. If I worked there, I know what I would do. 911, baby. Assault. That's what happened. But I'm not making any judgment. I'm just telling you what I would do. That's a 911 call right there. And I might whip out my phone. But again, they don't want to add to the disrespect. Campaign was made aware of the rules prior to the visit. New reporting from the Washington Post. Now it indicates that before the visit, Arlington National Cemetery officials had told Trump's team that he could visit the grave sites personally, but not as part of a campaign event. I mean, who would want to have those who paid the ultimate price on display for your personal gain, a part of a political thing? Who would do that?
Trump.
Well, we know who. What's that? Yeah, I heard you. Trump. Yeah, apparently. Military officials now. See what they're talking about here, because it's extraordinary that they're giving up all the tea. They separately told the New York Times that the employee had declined to press charges for fear of retaliation and harassment by Trump's supporters. Well, yeah, because we've seen it happen before. I'd have done it anyway, but perhaps this is best for this individual and their family. Remember, Trump's campaign attacked the character of the cemetery employee. Let's remind you. We are prepared to release footage if such defamatory claims are made. Where's the footage? I don't think I've seen any. The fact is, A private photographer was permitted on the premises, and for whatever reason, an unnamed individual clearly suffering from a mental health episode decided to physically block members of President Trump's team during a very solemn ceremony. So that's from the Trump campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung. And it's a lie. It's a lie. And I think, there's two sides to every story. The truth lies somewhere in the middle, except when you're dealing with Trump, who sets the tone for his team, Jackson. This is a rich, he said in 2 weeks he was going to release something about abortion. Now he's talking about IVF and Obamacare and a lot of other things. He's over promising, and we never do get the goods. So here they said they're prepared to release footage proving their angle, their point of view. I guess I'll start with this. Will we ever see that footage, Jackson?
No, I highly doubt we will. Donald Trump just says things constantly. For instance, like if he, free IVF, like really, like how are you going to provide that? Not to say like he has to get into the details, but that's the complete antithesis of the Republican platform at the moment. And then if he tries to say, oh, well, actually, I'm in favor of abortion, you can't say that, because he'll say that. And then an hour later, he'll be like, it's what everybody wanted for 52 years. We got it back down to the states. It's what everybody wanted. Like he commits unforced errors on a daily basis that damages his campaign and his historical reputation. So whether it's what he did at Arlington Cemetery or the Medal of Honor disrespect he gave to that, posting sexually inappropriate, lewd phrases about Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton about how they got where they are today. He can't stop. And that's like 20% of it, but I'll just be talking for the rest of the segment.
Yeah, he can't stop. He can't even just like, don't talk about it, right? Say very little, pivot, change the topic, the subject. That he's just what his favorite thing. He's not that bright. He likes to say that about other people, but this is really, they gave you the formula. And right after he says one thing, those who are really the puppet masters behind the scenes, Project 2025, Lindsey Graham and others, the conservative, Christian, whatever, they then chime in and they say, interrupting this program, we will be seeking a national abortion ban. We will be doing away with health care, Social Security, Medicare. So there you have it. It's sick, but the fact that this employee isn't really just taking the high road, and the employee's great in my view. Okay, they did the right thing, but they feel they cannot seek justice because he and his supporters are bullies and mob-like, mobsters, mafioso type behavior is sick. We've got to rid ourselves of this bully. And I say that, figuratively. We've got to neutralize this bully and the made men and women who are part of this bully movement, dangerous, violent movement, insurrectionists. We'll keep following it, but the Army, again, I'll say it. I'll give you the last word real quick, Jackson, because for them to put out this kind of detail and this statement about a former president is extraordinary, in my view. What say you?
Well, I think that Donald Trump is just clearly communicating to the world, but more importantly to the voters of this country, that he can't handle being president at all. It would be much worse than the previous 4 years, but more importantly than anything, no matter what your political leanings are, if you're not a part of the cult of personality that is Donald Trump, then you can clearly see he knows nothing. He's completely unstable. And really what he's thinking about is not going to prison. He just got indicted again. So there's just too many issues surrounding the guy. And I think that overwhelmingly people just understand that.
Yeah. You wouldn't date someone like that if you were free and looking. You say this brother got too many issues.
Yeah.
The sister's doing too much, okay? Or whoever your partner is, or whatever you like. I can't, they had a little vibe that I was digging, and then I wasn't, because it's just too much chaos. Too much. Okay. When Donald Trump said Kamala just turned black, I believe that was the phrasing. She didn't really respond to it at all. Why would she? Okay. Do you want to argue with a 3-year-old? I never did it. I even when I was watching my niece and nephew, they just say off this chart stuff. You're 3. And at a certain point, I'd find myself responding to a 3-year-old's nonsense. And then it would kick in. You're an adult. He or she is 3. So yeah, it makes you look like the dum-dum, Sharon. Don't do it. So I never did it. That was like a 1 and out. But sometimes you have to correct the child once, but just very mildly. It's not even worth it. Kamala Harris is finally responding to Donald Trump's statement about her race. Harris and Tim Walz, they just sat down for an interview with CNN's Dana Bash. And like I said, she kept it real minimal because you can't, when someone has this, sophomore juvenile mentality, you have to keep it short and simple. Their attention span is just not that good. And that's what she did. Just 4 words for Donald J. Trump.
He suggested that you happened to turn Black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any?
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, people say she laughs too much. I count, it's really 5 words. I count the laugh at the end. Maybe that's punctuation, and I rather enjoyed it because there's people who pretend, Jackson, that they're unbothered. She's unbothered. And how, I'm the vice president. Okay, I'm second in command to the leader of the free world. I'm running to be the leader of the free world on behalf of all the people, all the serious issues. It's almost like, how can I be respectful and tell her, don't ask me about this nonsense. This ain't Sesame Street. Okay, this ain't the Boondocks. I love the Boondocks. This is real world stuff, Dana, who I'm not disparaging. I'm just saying, like, out of all the other things that we got to talk about this nincompoop. Okay. Dana Bash, followed by asking Walz about the attacks on him and his family. Let's look at that.
If it's not this, it's an attack on my children for showing love for me, or it's an attack on my dog. I'm not going to do that. And the one thing I'll never do is I'll never demean another member's service in any way. I never have, and I never will.
Okay, so that we just heard, well, first we heard from the first grown-up and a running mate who's also a grown-up and who loves his family. And that's how you know someone's secure in who they are. I don't feel the need to even respond to. If you believe what you want to believe, okay? Okay. In a newly published poll by Reuters and Ipsos, Harris's lead over Trump has widened. And here's what the poll found. Harris leads Republican Donald Trump 45% to 41%. Harris leads Trump by 13 points among women and Hispanic voters. Trump leads among white voters and men. 73% of Democratic voters are more excited after Harris entered the race. Reuters, with the readout there on the polling. 4 percentage point advantage among registered voters was wider than a 1-point lead Harris held over the former president in the late July Reuters poll. The new poll, which was conducted in the 8 days ending Wednesday and had a 2 percentage point margin of error, showed Harris picking up support among women and Hispanics. In the 7 states where the 2020 election was closest, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, Michigan, and Nevada, Trump had a 45% to 43% lead over Harris among registered voters in the poll. So this is not a surprise to me. Let's start with the interview that to me was, there was no real, there was no real headline out of it when but this may say more about the mainstream media, the most released and repurposed clip is about, he said, "You're not Black," and her answer to that. She did what she had to do, Jackson. It wasn't, this aha moment. And when you're dealing with an opponent, and I want people to respect the race and understand how close somehow this still is, but she had to just dumb it down, because whenever you reference Donald Trump, well, I feel dumber for it. I'll let you react to both the interview and the polling.
Well, I mean, first I want to say that this whole uproar about Kamala's got to do an interview, like that was really media manufactured because they
Thank
wanted
you.
her to be,
Yep.
they want her ratings, they want her viewership. Because
Yes.
what's more important than anything is that Kamala's campaign is very successful because they're knocking on doors, making phone calls, doing events, and actually reaching people. She has 400,000 volunteers all over the country, so on and so forth. So to me, it was kind of goofy that anybody thought like, oh, she's gonna blow it. Like, why would she blow an
Goofy.
interview? Like, she doesn't know how to talk to people. She's a former attorney general, senator, current vice president. Like, I don't know why anyone thought that that was gonna make or break her campaign in any way. She did just fine, and she'll continue to do fine talking to people because that's the least that she can do. Now, when it comes to the polling, what's more important than any single set of polls are the trends. And since Kamala's entered the race, poll after poll after poll after poll, in every metric, she's up 3, 5, 9, 11. Like all of them. Even in the heavy right leaning polls, she's winning. And then again, grassroots money raised, what we just went over in terms of how her campaign's doing. She has many, many, many more offices open. And then Donald Trump is, doing interviews with Dr. Phil talking about if Jesus came down from heaven, then he would be certified in California. That's what he says in his interviews. So
Yeah.
this whole thing was just ridiculous and manufactured from the get-go. They really don't have anything on her that is going to land with the public. Most importantly, because her opponent is Donald Trump. And we're tired of the guy. Clearly we were tired of Joe Biden too. That's also adding to her fuel of her campaign right now. But it's Kamala Harris versus an abject moron who's not even interested in being president.
No,
So
no.
it's just pretty
He
clear
doesn't
as
wanna
day
work.
what's going on.
Yeah, he doesn't want to work. And might I say that Jesus, who is, if you're a believer, the ultimate in forgiveness, he's a forgiver. My sources say that Jesus too is preparing a cease and desist. Keep my name out your mouth. Okay, that's nobody's going to be associated with this behavior. Except, Dr. Phil, with his network down there, he wanted a headline, he got it. All right, this next one is horrific. It is. Cop murders pregnant woman he preyed on when she was 15. This is devastating and a horror show. Massachusetts federal grand jury indicted former police officer Matthew Farwell for killing Sandra Birchmore, 23-year-old pregnant woman whom he'd been having sex with since she was 15. Farwell, then an officer with the Stoughton Police Department, murdered Birchmore February 1, 2021 at her apartment in an effort to silence pregnant Birchmore from revealing the statutory sexual assault that occurred when she was a minor. Background of the years of abuse. According to the indictment, Birchmore began attending the Stoughton Police Explorers, a program for young people interested in law enforcement, in 2010 when she was 12. Just gets sicker. Farwell became an instructor for the program when he was hired in 2012. Friendly relationship turned illicit by the time she was 15, prosecutors say. He allegedly would sneak off on duty to have sex with her. Long crime with the reporting. I'm not part of the case, but I will tell you that something jumps out at me. A friendly relationship turned illicit. I don't believe that. If any of these facts are true, and I believe they are, that's called preying and grooming. It's not friendly. Nothing friendly about it. It's toxic. It's gross. The abuse continued into Birchmore's adulthood. Building off the years of grooming, Farwell later cultivated a controlling and sometimes abusive relationship with Birchmore. He tracked her location with his cell phone, and as voluminous text messages demonstrate, he engaged in sexual violence, prosecutors wrote. By the end of 2020, feds say she told him she wanted to have a child together. The two reached an agreement that he would impregnate her in exchange for her silence about his criminal conduct. But when he got her pregnant in December 2020, he apparently wasn't happy about it. He became physically violent with Birchmore. She told multiple friends that Farwell had pushed and shoved her, grabbed objects from her hands, and put her in a chokehold, the indictment said. Then in January 2021, Farwell reportedly received word that a tipster had told an employee with Stoughton Police about his illicit activities with Birchmore when she was a minor. He also learned Birchmore had told a friend about the statutory sexual assault. The feds say it's rape. He was raping a child. Let's just make it real clear. He was raping a baby, a child. Prosecutors allege that on January 24th, Farwell began to take important steps toward killing her, which included requesting and receiving a key to her apartment, plus looking around the home for places to kill her. On February 1, 2021, Farwell decided to act. For him, that day provided at least two advantages. A blizzard was approaching Greater Boston, ensuring that no one would notice Birchmore's absence from work for several days. And Farwell's wife was hours away from delivering their third child. What a trash box. It just keeps getting worse. Farwell allegedly texted Birchmore that he was on his way to her apartment and showed up wearing a face mask to conceal his identity. He then strangled her and staged her apartment to make it appear Birchmore had committed suicide. Prosecutors said he put her in a seated position and put a strap around her neck and doorknob, according to the feds. Canton police officers found her body February 4th while conducting a welfare check after she did not show up for work. Massachusetts State Police investigation and autopsy initially determined she died by hanging and ruled the matter of death as suicide. Subsequent days, he lied to MSP investigators, claimed he started having sex with Birchmore in 2020 when she was an adult, prosecutors said. He also allegedly claimed he hadn't had sex with her in over a year, so it would seem he was not the father of the child. State hired a second medical examiner who found inconsistencies with the suicide conclusion and believed someone had strangled her, according to the indictment. Feds also reportedly uncovered text messages implicating Google searches too. He tried to delete. Stoughton police began an internal investigation into Farwell following the murder, put him on leave. He resigned in April 2022. Why the hell would he be allowed to resign? He already lied. Sure, there's still the murder to uncover, but allowed to resign. Yeah, till the bitter end. In a statement, Stoughton Police Chief Donna McNamara called Birchmore's death a horrific injustice. Feds arrested Farwell Wednesday on a charge of killing a witness or a victim. He faces life in prison if convicted. Jackson, I don't even know where to start. This is evil among us. I don't even know if I believe that you had to turn this way. Surely evil was dropped down by a stork to do this kind of horror. What say you?
Well, for me, when I see or hear about stories like this in any type of similar capacity to where people are engaged in this type of activity for long periods of time, you can't help but think of all the time that these people had to stop or backtrack or give it up. Like how people just walk themselves into their, ultimate destination, which is paying for their sins, quote unquote, however you want to say it. This guy had been having this relationship with her since she was 15, she was 23, almost 10 years. He could have, all that time he had to stop. You cheating on your wife, you could have cheated on your wife with other women who, weren't minors. Like there's so many other things that he could have done without stooping to this degree. And then more importantly than anything else, it's like, well, to cover up my sin of, having sex with a minor and manipulating her throughout these years, I'm going to take her life because that'll solve it. Like, what's really going on in your thinking patterns for you to take this type of action? And ultimately, he's in trouble. I mean, if he's not in solitary confinement wherever he goes, then, not only is he involved in the murder of a woman who was pregnant with his child, who he started having sex with, and she was a minor, but he's also a police officer. So that's not going to bode well for him in any type of general population that he goes to. But at this point, I don't really see how he can escape a life sentence or like what, 100+ years or something. Like it's not worth saving this guy. So I think he's going down for sure.
And just so I'm clear, what you're saying is once incarcerated, he will be vulnerable to those who will exert power over him, kind of like
Yeah.
how he, ironically, was living his life. He didn't stop because he's a predator. He's sick, and everybody else is there for his pleasure and his enjoyment, including the wife, the blizzard, his badge, his gun, and his bare hands. Sicko. We'll keep following the case, but I concur. He's not worth it. He's so not worth it. And the real life sentence is to this young woman whose childhood was stolen and her family. We'll move on. Bit of a theme. We'll when we come back from break, there's something about the men lately of a certain persuasion who tend to overindulge, exert privilege, if you will. Those types. You know what segment's coming up. I want you to stick around for it. Sharon Reed, Jackson White, in for Dr. Ritchie. Much more indisputable when we come right back.
Now I'm going to do something very different here and read some one-star reviews of the Young Turks on Apple Podcasts. Donnie Franchise said, pretty much it's like listening to a trash compactor. Someone else said, negative, anti-American propaganda. And others said, out of context, misquotes, typical leftists who are afraid to debate, just smear. These two would be perfect for CNN or MSLSD. Well, Donnie, you might have a point, because I feel like a trash compactor right now after taking in all those garbage reviews. But thanks for listening anyway. We are, in fact, unapologetically progressive. And if you're not ready for bold commentary, then we're not the show for you. On the Young Turks, we speak up about the issues that matter, and we want to make positive change happen. And now here's why we actually do the show. Mariel Morales said, found this podcast from the true crime podcast, Fruit Loops, and other great progressive podcasts. I've become an instant fan of the Young Turks. Great conversation, great takes, very well composed, factual podcast, very informative. Love to hear that. Z55 said, it's a joy to experience such awareness and intelligence from fascinating people. And Anna is gorgeous and brilliant. Apparently I'm just fascinating, but I'll take it. Paul for Progress said, news well delivered. Appreciate it. KOOK said, Democrats and Republicans are fair game for TYT, and if Anna or Cenk provide disinformation about anything, they will admit they made a mistake and correct it. We appreciate you noticing that we are honest. To people who actually listen to the substance of the show, thank you. Your listenership supports what we do. Leave a 5-star rating for the Young Turks on Apple Podcasts. Let's take the ratings back from the trolls. Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. Here at TYT, we understand this. That's why we're not gonna price gouge you or use inflation as an excuse to raise our prices. A TYT membership is not your typical subscription, but basic membership is still just $4.99. So what do you get for that price? For starters, you're getting exclusive programming, unique, exclusive designs from Shop TYT, access to a members-only chat, giveaways, emojis, and so many other amazing perks. But most importantly, you're helping to make an impact. As a TYT member, you not only help us do the shows every day, but you drive real positive change in the process. In 2017, we helped to start Justice Democrats right here on TYT. That's a group that got a dozen progressives elected into Congress. That's amazing, you did that. Your support also funds TYT's very own investigative reporting. Just recently, our reporters exposed the Fellowship Foundation and pressured lawmakers into boycotting that bigoted event. Isn't that amazing? We raised over $30,000 for Jackson, Mississippi, and delivered clean water to thousands of people in need. Our petitions, polls, and community of activists help keep the corruption of Washington in check. That's the impact of what just $4.99 a month from our members can do, and we're just getting started. Positive change doesn't occur overnight, but with your contribution, we can make it happen together. You know that viral video you saw of me? First of all, it's bull. Second of all, they got it from a snippet of the live show. You should check out the live show so you see the full context of everything we say. Weekdays, 6 o'clock Eastern, Young Turks on YouTube or wherever you get TYT.
The support we receive from members is the backbone of our movement to drive positive change. We need viewers like you to keep moving forward. Visit tyt.com/team and join our movement today.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off. Jackson White is back with us as a special guest co-host today. Always appreciate it. What are you working on, Jackson? Tell us quickly about the excellent work that you do. So much fan support.
Oh yeah, you can check me out at youtube.com/@politicsandpaper. Again, that's Politics and Paper on YouTube. I do almost daily streams, news streams, and I got a bunch of other programming in there as well that's not really politics related, but still very useful. And some of it's just cool. So check me out again at Politics and Paper on YouTube.
All right, well, we'll certainly do that, continue to do that. We
Thank you.
support you. And there's this to pass along, in case you haven't heard, audience support sponsorship. You can amplify your brand by joining forces with TYT and have us promote your business and you right here on Indisputable. You can learn more at tyt.com/sponsorships. This is your chance to connect with our engaged viewers and listeners, so you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. Join us as a sponsor today, and let's make an impact together at tyt.com/sponsorships. It's a great opportunity. If you're looking for a specific audience to engage with and to support you, I can't imagine a more supportive audience than, well, you all. So we thank you for that and just wanted to pass along another opportunity. Get to some of your comments now. TYT viewers first. Let's see. Biden flavor corn pop says yesterday's Indisputable was indisputably great. Well, thank you. I happened to be on yesterday. I'm sure it's just a coincidence because the show is great every day. And you all prove it with the numbers and your ongoing support. Galfar says, Jackson, please tell me who drew that Batman on the wall behind you. It looks like a Jim Lee drawing.
I actually am not sure who drew it. I don't know. I like Batman. I got a bunch of Batman stuff, but I don't know who did that one. Actually, it was a gift.
All right. Well, I think that's a subtle way of saying you might want to insure it. You might want to take it somewhere.
Maybe so.
And get it, looked at and maybe get some insurance on it and perhaps additional security because people are noticing.
Yeah, people checking it out. But yeah, no, thank you though. I like it.
Yeah, okay. Give you an update now. The Army speaking out in ways that we don't generally see about Donald Trump and the campaign and that disruptive visit to Arlington National Cemetery, the incident. Lynn says, hey, if they weren't supposed to film, why is there any alleged footage at all? Lynn is so smart because that's something that went right over my head. Yeah, we're never going to see it, Lynn. There is footage, but it would prove that what the Army is saying is absolutely true in this case. Donald Trump and his cronies from the campaign were disrespectful at this sacred place. And you're right, kind of dippy to say, we have footage to prove our innocence. You weren't supposed to be doing that. Duh. Thank you, Lynn. I love it. Love you. Kamala finally responding, the vice president, to Trump's statement about her race. Okay. Let's see. Biden flavor corn pop is back. But in this highly low bar environment, you can't win in the court of public opinion with not responding. Hey, you might be right. She had to say something. So she gave just a little bit, just a little spice on it, and that was it. He's not even worth a clap back. Now, you know, you've fallen off when you're not even worth a clap back. The Black woman loves to clap back, even at the highest level. Look at Michelle Obama. Look at the VP. It's not that she doesn't enjoy a good clap back, that all audiences, race, color, creed, religion, everybody enjoys a clap back, but he's so damn fallen off. This is not Drake and Kendrick Lamar where you got begs a respect. Even Drake quit after a while because come on, we know Kendrick won that thing. Okay, and I love Drake, love you. But it just is what it is. But maybe you're right, she had to say something, but just not much. Give you one more, Purple Rain Dragon. Street justice. The other inmates don't take kindly to child sex predators. That's about this cop outside of Boston who accused of a young woman, age 23, who he had reportedly been having sex with since grooming her at the age of 12, sex at perhaps 15. Sick. We'll get to more of your comments, and I want to thank all of you for your support. Appreciate you very much. Now, you know what time it is. It is a segment dedicated to those who are rabble rousers. They cause a lot of trouble. It is their mission. They wake up and they start, before even they get their coffee, they probably take out their phone and say, well, who will I harass and show bigotry and racism to this morning? And then they might break it down. Like maybe if you're on a meal plan, you're mapping it out. Well, Karens, they map out who they will target. And then other times it's just instant. It's like breaking news. They just see someone who's minding their own business, who is a person of color or a woman or whatever, and they just pounce. They snap because they're afflicted. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
You shouldn't be doing medication and drinking martinis.
Stop, please stop. This is my place of business. There's other people
You
here.
have no idea.
I just need both of you to calm down right now, please.
You do not
know who you're talking to. You do not know who you're talking to. There's other people enjoying their dinner right now, please.
You need to slow down on the old spirits, people.
You know, people have a accident.
You got nice. I don't think so. I don't think so, sweetheart. You need to be appreciative of what's going on. An accident is wine. There's a sit of wine all over his back.
An accident happens. So somebody makes an accident.
Can't even have a good bite to eat. Looked like they were having Italian food at that restaurant. It's just what I imagine. Doesn't matter what they're eating, though. Karens only care about themselves. In this case, male Karen throws a fit over someone spilling wine because that's what Karens do. They take advantage of seemingly innocent situations. It seems tame enough so far. You have what appears to be the owner of the establishment begging, please, there's, people trying to enjoy themselves. You hear someone explain it was an accident. 2 mistakes, because when you're dealing with Karens, you can't go to their sympathy, empathy, normal feelings, because they just are out for themselves. So it went from tame to epic. Watch.
You got a knife in your hand?
I'm sure you know other No, I was actually. No, we actually. Let's get out of here. Are you kidding? Attempted murder here? Attempted murder? Oh, when somebody dropped a glass of wine.
Yeah, What year, how expensive was the wine that would make someone behave in this fashion? Go from a slight disturbance to January 6th type insurrection. Isn't this foolish? Ignorant? A knife? Someone's pulling out it's a knife fight now? Jackson, make it make sense. We heard someone, a patron perhaps, who was recording this, say, let's get out of here. Okay. And then you heard someone saying attempted murder? Attempted murder over accidentally spilling wine? This is the bottom of the barrel behavior.
Yeah, a good example of how a miserable spirit and anger can make you do dumb things. I mean, I don't know if this person thought they was going to get away with that in front of, not only, are you trying to take someone's life over some spilled wine, but you're doing it in front of an entire restaurant. And, they're not going to let you get away with that. So this person needs some help, clearly. Everybody was a bit anxious, but this person took it way too far. I don't even really know what to say more than that. He's probably gonna get charged for sure, not just for the knife, but causing a disturbance and everything.
Chaos.
Yeah,
Insurrection type behavior. Wonder where he learned it. And here's the thing. Okay, the wine already spilled, so it sucks, right? Maybe it's red wine. I don't know. But you could have got a free meal. The person who was trying to calm everybody, you could have got a free bottle of wine out of this, perhaps a comp dessert. You didn't have to show your, what? Just foolishness. Foolish.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Ridiculous. And it probably was like a box wine. I know they got good box wine now too, because it probably wasn't even worth all that. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right, let's get to a Nepo baby now. Nepo babies are so loud with it. Be appreciative of your privilege. But now, Nepo babies always behave in a way like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm the best. No, you're not. You're a Nepo baby, okay? And in this case, your daddy, the former police commissioner in New York, cleared the way for you. And you're proving every day that you're a fool. We could end the story there, but I'm going to give you the details. We're talking about Greg Kelly. The media is treating Kamala gently due to affirmative action. You see, they're always projecting. You are the recipient of incredible white privilege, Nepo baby, Greg Kelly, and that you're projecting on a woman who pulled herself up, had an immigrant parents, and worked hard and got there. Her whole family is full of excellence, by the way, but okay. See what Newsmax Greg Kelly is suggesting. Well, here it is. He says Kamala Harris is being treated gently because of affirmative action. Play it for us.
She's agreed to an interview, her first one. Her first one. How is she pulling this off? How are these poll numbers the way they are? Maybe they're not. Maybe it's all fake. But this is what's happening tomorrow night.
We are learning that CNN will hold an exclusive interview with Kamala Harris, her first since becoming the Democratic presidential nominee. Her running mate, Tim Walz, will join as well for this first interview.
Wow, you hear all that music? It's breaking news. It's a big deal. She's going to be on television taking questions. This is an abomination when you think about it. That she can, what is this? Affirmative action? I know people say, oh, you're not supposed to say that. It's not a DEI hire, but who else would be treated this gently?
Yeah, I know it's not worth it, but he said it. So let's talk about it, Jackson, here. As I said, he's a Nepo baby. Do you honestly think if you lined up, you sending out these, your real video resume when you do what we do, and the powers that be look at it, generally white men, sometimes white women, for the most part. And you say, let's narrow this down. We want the best and the brightest. Do you honestly believe that in a blind study, they would come up with this guy, Greg Kelly? Do you honestly believe
he's like the caricature?
He wouldn't be in Paducah, Kentucky, let alone on national television. And no slight to Paducah, but you understand what I'm saying. How about Yakima? Okay, and you wouldn't pick him. You just wouldn't, Jackson.
That's why he's on Newsmax.
Right. Yeah. Before that, it was Fox.
Yeah, but to me, it's just, first and foremost, It's always fascinating to me that conservative outlets don't consider themselves to be part of the media. Not even Fox News. That's one of the biggest cable news. If I don't, well, a couple of weeks ago, their numbers were down, but generally speaking, Fox News is the largest cable news network in the country, but they're not part of the news. And then also, so you already know that they're unfair and very critical of Kamala Harris for everything. But then progressive media is critical of her as well, whether it be for her policy positions or concern over her stance on Gaza. So it's just not true that Kamala doesn't get scrutinized in the media. And even if that was true, who cares? Like, what difference does that make to Donald Trump, who's supposed to be this massive strongman who can just win anything, who lost in 2020, who's losing all his court cases, who's bankrupt XYZ times, everything he touches goes into the dumpster. And again, as we covered, when Donald Trump does do interviews, he can't stop and help himself from saying ridiculously stupid things. So, this is just a bunch of whining and complaining. And of course, they had to make it racist because they know no other tune. But yeah, it's stupid. And it's really just fueling her rise to power, honestly.
I think you're right. But, the other side of it is people don't like it when it looks like someone's not being given tough questions, given the prominent position they're seeking. People don't like it when it looks like someone's gotten a free pass. They don't like it at all. Something's just come across my desk. Just want to remind you, prosecutors have decided not to press charges against Greg Kelly several weeks after the son of NYPD Commissioner Ray Kelly was accused of sexually raping a woman. Okay, so they didn't charge him.
Oh,
they didn't charge him. Oh, there's more. Okay, but again, Greg Kelly was not charged with this accused rape of a 28-year-old paralegal several years ago. Maybe maybe he's innocent, or maybe he got a free pass. I don't know. Sometimes they don't proceed because dad's the ex-police commissioner. Sometimes they don't proceed because there's a lack of evidence. Sometimes they don't proceed because you didn't do it, and maybe it's a lie. I know where I'm kind of landing, but I'll keep it to myself. People don't like it, Jackson, when it appears a high-profile person is getting a pass.
It's not even true, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even true. Like, again, not only is right-wing media critical of her, so is left-wing media. And not just that, corporate media, MSNBC, CNN, oh, where is she? She's got to do an interview. Like, it's just not true. It's just not true. But you got to say something.
Got to say something, son. All right, Nepo baby, we'll let you get some rest. We're going to take a quick break. Sharon Reed alongside Jackson White, our special guest co-host today on Indisputable. Doc has the day off. We're right back.
Hey everyone, Mateo Scarapo here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, who's real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only black salesperson there. He's the only black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now, but it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it, I hope that you enjoy it, and if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Thank you for being members, by the way, of either TDR or of TYT. We really appreciate it. We could not do this without you? Would I still be here without you? That is an open question.
I really love what y'all do on the Young Turks, man, and it's a very refreshing, voice. Y'all don't lean to one side. I tell people all the time, if you want to go really hear what's going on honestly in our society, you should tune in to the Young Turks.
Thank you, Charlemagne. We appreciate that.
That's awesome. Really appreciate it, brother. The rest of the news media says you should not fight for positive change. If you do, you're not really a reporter or a journalist, because reporters and journalists don't care what happens. I don't agree. That's not written anywhere. That's not a law. It's just a rule that they invented so that reporters didn't actually challenge the people that are in power. Well, we don't agree with that. We think we should challenge the people in power, that actually makes you a better journalist, not a worse one.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm new to TikTok, but about 3 years ago, I started my daily political news show, The Damage Report, because I noticed this trend where every morning I was waking up to this tsunami of news that was just generally dreadful and horrifying and shocking, and I thought that if I could spend my time helping people to navigate this, serving as a bit of a life raft, pointing out which news is important and why, there are worse ways to spend your day. We're not an average news show, and we don't want our TikTok presence to be average either, so feel free to let us know what you'd like us to do on the platform, and maybe give us a follow at The Damage Report.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you can subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it, and bathe in the sweet, twitchy, Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
Welcome back to Indisputable. Sharon Reed alongside Jackson White, Politics and Paper, as our special guest co-host today. Doc has the day off. Thank you, though, for so many of you joining us and letting us share this time with you, giving us
I feel
some of
like
the
anytime the
comments
doc
now.
isn't here, he probably somewhere cutting a ribbon or getting an award for something,
Probably so.
getting a street named after him or
Or
something
another
like that.
PhD. Who
Yeah,
knows?
right. It's
Okay.
another something. Being
Yeah.
Superman somewhere.
Superman. So he said, you know what? You crazy kids. You all take care of the show today. Allow the viewers to weigh in. And so we'll do that, Jackson. About the homicidal Karen. This was at the restaurant, and we're hearing about somebody spilling wine, and now the male Karen upset and wants to stab somebody. It's crazy. Next TYT reporter says, why can't these Karens understand? If you act a fool, you're going to end up on the internet. It's a good question, TYT reporter. I believe they don't mind at all because Donald Trump and others have normalized this Karenicity. It's a badge of honor. They might even have their own award show, okay? That you're the Karen of the Year, and with Marjorie Taylor Greene or someone handing out the award. Maybe it would be like a big nose on a stick or something, and that's the award because you're so nosy. You can never just, what does the Governor Wolf say? Mind your own damn business. I wish I could get that accent down. Because the way he says it, I believe that he's saying that he and his neighbors would say, mind your business. It's not your business. Karens don't understand. Okay. You got jokes, huh? Cray souffle, same incident, restaurant over wine. I wish everybody would just stop whining. That sounded like something out of a bubblegum machine where they had a little rolled up paper. but it's funny. Gave me a little smile. Nepo baby Greg Kelly, media treating Kamala gently due to affirmative action. You ought to be. Lynn says just using the term affirmative action will rile up the base. It's low bar, and it works. Kara says, if you want to see how to treat a politician gently, watch a Trump interview on Fox.
Right. They just let him ramble for 5 minutes.
And remember when recently at the DNC, when Fox was covering it and he kept calling in trying to, they were even gentle when they had to end the call. Okay, Mr. All right. They didn't just click. They had to kind of, back out of it. So thank you, Kara, for that. It's true. It's true. About the cop who murdered the pregnant woman he preyed on when she was 15. Lynn, Sharon, thank you for calling out that friendly relationship for what it was, grooming. Guy's a monster. The guy's a monster. Okay. How about this one now? Racist anti-Kamala signs hung at bus stops all over Denver. You knew it had to get worse, right? We got 60-some days. America, show me your worst. Denver City Councilwoman Shantel Lewis posted photos on X after offensive signs were hung at bus stops all around Denver. She tweeted, I wish I could say I was surprised, but in a year when a Black woman could become POTUS, those with hate in their heart are going to coordinate these kind of atrocious, expensive campaigns to stir division. Yeah, it is expensive to come up with this. You got to get it printed. You got to get it hung. Got to avoid detection. Give you a closer look. One sign reads, Blacks must sit at the back of the bus. Kamala's migrants sit in the front. Aren't you clever? And racist. Bigoted. Nasty. Yeah, that's right. There you go. These are, of course, reminiscent of Jim Crow era signage. I thought we were kind of sugarcoating or whitewashing this. Did it happen, America? Why are we putting up throwback signs to a time that really wasn't that big of a deal? I thought you said it wasn't that big of a deal and that Blacks were happy and they got to learn a trade and everything was great until a woke mob 100 years later started messing things up. But apparently we are now acknowledging that this was a dark era. White waiting room. Jackson, how much attention should we pay to this? And might I remind you that we are about to be in September. October surprises are part of presidential history, right? Whether it's Jim Comey, okay, or something about a monkey business and a boat, or a love child in a relationship, whatever it is, these October surprises are usually huge. In this shortened race, I wonder what you make of this and how bad you think it's going to get.
Well, I don't really suspect an October surprise this go round because we've been watching Donald Trump for almost a decade now in politics. And that's one of the biggest flaws of not just the Republican Party, which is solely and completely about Donald Trump, right now, and will continue to be even after he loses. But, at the end of the day, Republicans and just the right-wing movement in this country, so much of it is just the culture and the spirit of sticking it to the libs. That's all this is, trying to get under people's skin, trying to get people mad. And when they can't get you mad and they can't get under your skin, they kind of just stop and go away. Or they go back to their echo chambers and do stuff like this. But I mean, this is what they got. Like, are we supposed to have our feelings hurt, or are we supposed to think this is funny? They just look like losers, and they are. They're losers who are losing. And as far as I'm concerned, and the way that it looks, this isn't going to stop. Like, I think it's pretty unrealistic to believe that all of a sudden they're going to start doing the right thing. And even if they did, we have memories, like we're not just going to forget what they've been doing, especially since Kamala entered the race. And I mean, if you think that they couldn't handle a Black man being president, just wait till a Black woman is president. Ooh. Just wait. I mean, we're just getting started with seeing this type of stuff. So yeah.
44 posted something to his social media where he had on a tan suit and then she was in a tan suit. It was a little split screen. I think she should wear a tan suit every day because it's making a mockery of your nonsense, okay? It's important world matters, important American issues that have to be dealt with. We're gonna move on to this one. Jenna Ortega, embracing the interviewer who said she was Latina enough. Why is this? I never hear anybody saying they're white enough. They're not white enough, or they're just white, okay? This is so ridiculous. Let's give you the heartfelt moment, though, that went viral.
Jenna, I just wanted to say from one Latina to another, you're Latina enough. I don't care what anyone else says, especially like as someone in the industry, like you've opened so many doors for people like me. So you are Latina enough. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate you.
God, beautiful thing. You see how much that meant? The heartfelt moment there. Jenna Ortega recently sat down with BuzzFeed journalist Carolina Reynosa ahead of the release of her upcoming film, Beetlejuice. Before Ortega and her co-star, Catherine O'Hara, spoke about the sequel to director Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, Mexican-American interviewer made sure to give Ortega some encouraging words of support here. You are enough. You are Latina enough. Ortega, who is of Mexican and Puerto Rican descent, has previously opened up about the importance of Latina representation in Hollywood. However, the star has also been subjected to criticism over the extent of her own cultural identity. Back in September, Ortega sparked online discourse after a video showed actor Anya Taylor-Joy, who was raised in Buenos Aires, introducing her husband to Ortega and Spanish pop star Rosalia in Spanish at the Dior Paris Fashion Week show. Ortega replied in English, prompting the internet to question the actor's Latina identity. Independent with the reporting, oh, the internet, you're not Latina enough. Okay, trolls. Speaking of Vanity Fair, in a cover story published on August 6th, the Netflix star noted that the criticism surrounding her cultural background can feel like you're just not good enough. Because I wasn't born in a Spanish-speaking country, I know people have a hard time connecting with me, Ortega told the outlet. She admitted that she's felt a bit of shame over not being as in touch with her roots as she would like to. I think there's a part of me that carries a bit of shame. For a second, I was almost nervous to speak about my family's background because I feel like I was made to feel like it wasn't. Ortega continued before trailing off. But also, something that I'm learning is it's not my job to carry the weight of everybody who's ever had that experience. The moment has since gone viral on social media. Fans pointed out Ortega's seemingly heartwarm reaction to Reynosa's reassurance. You can tell immediately that she needed to hear that, one person commented on TikTok. You can tell she really appreciated this, another fan said. That touched her heart, a third user wrote. Previously, Ortega commented on the importance of the character of Wednesday being portrayed as Latina.
It's pretty incredible that we're actually both Boricuas on our side. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That was like a nice little outing because oftentimes they cast people and it almost doesn't match up, but that's pretty cool to not only be able to work with other Latin actors, but with someone like Wednesday. A big part of the reason why I actually took the role, aside from Wednesday being a legend and the script being enticing and all of that, I think for me it was the opportunity to, I can't really think of any other Latin character that has the reach that Wednesday does, or the impact or the love or community that she has. And oftentimes Latin characters are the sidekick or the daughter of the cartel leader or like the housekeeper. It's true. It's a lot of the scripts that I've gotten are very stereotypical, or their heritage is their entire personality and they have to carry their flag. So I think it was really, really empowering and incredible to get this opportunity. And I also give a lot of respect and appreciation towards Netflix because they made it very clear from the beginning when this project came around that they wanted her to be Latina, which I thought was really, really cool to just kind of set the standard and solidify that. But for me, yeah, I love Wednesday because she's weird. People still fall in love with her. They're obsessed with her. But then also she has this bit of representation that I never really had.
Means a lot. I guess for me, there's not a Black child or person perhaps around who hasn't I love being Black, but I've even wondered this. I wonder how much easier my life would be if I didn't have to worry about, if I were white, I'd just be judged for me, my talents, my shortcomings, whatever it is. But because of systemic racism and bigotry and everything else that America was founded on, this wonderful young Latina actress has to carry this burden of how others view her. And there's this internal debate. I'm sure there's outside trolls too, Jackson, who decide if you're Black enough or Latina enough. It's part of systemic racism, whether we believe it or not. There's this ranking based on light skin, the color, the hair, the everything. And it's sad to me that we're still in that place. It's also sad to me that as important as it is to represent all of our melting pot cultures, and I love that, the fact that we have to be out loud with it means that we're still in a certain place in America. We're still in that place because there's a lacking somewhere. So we have to be intentional about it. What say you, Jackson?
Well, yeah, representation is definitely important. And at the end of the day, I think there's just an example of our tribal thinking. People group themselves together, and it's of benefit to us to think that we're better than other people because that can give us motivation or help to identify us as separate from other people. At the end of the day, there's always going to be somebody who thinks you're not Latina enough or Black enough or whatever it is. I mean, I'm half Black, half white, so I've been getting that my whole life. At this point, I mean, I'm 32, so it don't really mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always going to be people like, oh, you're white. Like, I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am white. I'm also Black. You feel me? Like, so at the end of the day, it is what it is. And, at the end of the day, people who say that, they watching you and not the other way around. So if you're in a position to have some influence, you just got to keep doing your best. And you don't really have to draw a whole lot of attention to it. If you, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but people are always going to have something to say. And at the end of the day, stuff like this is pretty light and it doesn't make any type of impact at all.
And it's no wonder it exists, and how we tend to raise up wide-eyed, talented, in this case, a young woman who has this injected insecurity because of other people and what they believe she should or should not represent, how she should be portrayed.
And she's 21,
white girl
so,
plenty. Yeah. I was called that, I think, 2 weeks ago by a gentleman from Africa, the continent of Africa. I forget which part, but he said, you'd be classified as a white girl where I'm from. I said, I'm straight out of Wakanda, baby. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. He said, no. And so I let him have it, and by let him have it, I don't mean let him have it. I mean, I don't even care. Okay. I've been dealing with that my whole life, and I love being Black, but I love being me too. We're not a monolithic community. Hello. We come in all different shades and sizes. Jackson, tell people where they can find your great work and follow you. It's your time.
Definitely. Always good to be here with you. But again, y'all can check me out at youtube.com/@politicsandpaper. I do almost daily news streams, and I got a bunch of other programming on there as well. The channel's going well, got a lot of good support, and I'd appreciate if you subscribe.
Yeah, I almost said, I'm gonna call Jackson and let him be a consultant with me or something, because you put in the work there. I mean, the channel's
doing my best.
growing.
I'm doing my best, and it's all organic. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing everything by myself, and I got a lot of other stuff to do as well. So I'm doing the best that I can, and progress is being made.
You're good enough. Your best is good enough. I want you to know that, and we love it. Appreciate you, Jackson White, Sharon Reed, and for Doc today on Indisputable. The Bullpen is next.
Magic. It's showtime. And say 45 minutes. I'm hosting today. Now I know what you're thinking, Jerry, your face is already perfect, but you know what? I still need to apply some makeup. I went through this process, right? A few years ago. When I realized that I was gonna have to wear makeup on the show. I had to go through finding out what my undertones were. You guys know what those are? I got my MAC Cosmetics. It says SPF 15 foundation, broad spectrum. But apparently what I have is red undertones, and I think pores are not supposed to be seen. I need all these things to be confirmed for me. These sponge things don't work for me. You gotta use your hands. This I do. That's how the magic really happens. So we're gonna go through a tutorial how to make the magic happen from beautiful to beautifuler. Let's go. I've already been moisturized. That's the first thing. But moisturization already happened. We go raw. All hands. Pick up. Couple streaks. This is the guy way of putting on makeup. We got dots. There's some shiny points that generally happen. First of all, here we go. You dust here. I'm putting way too much, but you dust. Oh, get the excess off. You don't want chunky powder. There's like a T-zone, I think, right? Mine is a double T-zone. Because I went middle and another cross. Make sure your nose isn't all shiny. People get on you for it. You don't say, that's not a good point you made on there, JR. Your nose is shiny. You guys are picky like that sometimes. I think that's about it, fellas and ladies. See you guys next time. Bitsies.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sharon Reed in for Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Welcome to the Bullpen. In this edition, we want to welcome in a familiar face. The mayor of Enfield, North Carolina, Mayor Mondale Robinson is joining us today. And Mayor, I do wish it was under better circumstances. We'll give people the backstory first, and then we'll discuss. So here we are. Mayor Robinson, you're joining the Bullpen today for what is an exclusive, and I'm sad to see that you went through this, but it's important to tell people about it. A recent discrimination incident experienced by you and several of your comrades here with Black Male Voter Project colleagues in a citizen bank in Pittsburgh. Let's play a little bit, and then, as I said, we'll go through it and talk about it.
Cop cars all right here. More of my cameras is on the inside. He said he got a call from them. Who called you? Nobody but the branch manager. I don't even want y'all doing business with this bank.
They got my ID. They said we detained right now.
Yeah, we detained.
For what?
They said
Open an account?
Speculation. They said.
Hold on. They said y'all out of state opening accounts.
Yeah, it was
Good. We don't want to open accounts with them. So they need to give your ID back as soon as they finish whatever they're doing. You will never come here again because they saw a group of black men come and open accounts and they had to call the cops. And it's not how we do business. That's not what we're about. So we came down here to do something good. We're not here to be harassed because people are afraid.
all type of that.
It's weird to me.
Weird, we're hearing that word a lot. And there's more before we bring the mayor in for more perspective, more footage, including the initial questioning by officers at the bank.
So did you get this? Did your employer send you guys down here to open up an account?
We get paid. Some of us don't have bank accounts to get paid through, so we came here to open a bank account so we can get paid.
Okay,
that's all.
Who's your employer?
The Black Male Voter Project.
Okay.
Shirt we all have on.
All right. So you guys are down here to open up that account.
No, we're down here canvassing for a political campaign, the presidential election. We came here to open accounts, the ones of us that are here, because we don't have accounts, so we can get paid for our work.
Okay, so you want to open up accounts here so you can't get paid? No?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, he's saying no.
No, I'm shaking my head that he got to even explain this. Nah, but it's okay. Go ahead. That we going through this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head too, Mayor. I'm incensed, and you've not said one word yet. We heard your voice on the video. It's like I go into McDonald's. I'm there to get some French fries. Why even gotta explain that to you? Why are police involved in this, Mayor? You got my blood pressure up already, but explain what you can about this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horrible situation, and looking at this video, these clips, it seemed a lot more tame than what it was when I pulled up my first canvassers that were outside. I didn't realize I had more employees on the inside of the bank because I pulled up. It was already 4 of my employees outside, surrounded by police officers, and there's more footage with that, and they had them blocked in as if they had just tried to rob the bank, and I felt frustrated because I was the one that told people when it came on that we would definitely work to make sure that you have a bank account when you leave this job, so that you're not out here without a bank account and asking or having to be given cash whenever you do a service for someone. Plus, you need a bank account to survive in this world. But anyway, even banking with as a black man, a group of black men, and we know what it was because outside, the police officer that I was talking to outside told me a completely different reason than the police officer on the inside told me why they were stopping and harassing my canvassers. On the outside, the police officer told me they were just there because this happens all the time. Whenever a bunch of people from out of town try to open accounts, they come up like this. I asked him, when do a bunch of people from out of town come and try to open an account? And then he tried to change it up and say, well, this is my first time, but I heard they do this often. And then I go inside, the police officer on the inside said, no, it was fraudulent. So I'm asking him what was fraudulent. And he tried to tell one of my canvassers they gave him the wrong social security number. And then the officer that he was talking with said, no, it wasn't him. That's not what happened. One of the canvassers a name had been used for, he was flagged for identity theft. And the banker, the female banker that was in the video, told him, hey, you need to lock your credit because you're a victim of identity theft. She told him that, not the police officers, not me. The banker said, hey, lock your account, call Equifax and lock it as soon as possible because you're a victim of identity theft. So the police officer tried to finesse that and try to tell me that that we were committing fraud because my people were opening accounts. And I told him, first, you're gonna give my people their IDs back. They were open accounts at a bank that we shouldn't have been in, that we should never do business in, because the only black employee there said she knew it was going to be a problem when all those black guys walked in, because that was the nature of the people in the bank. Every time a black customer come in there, they send them to her unless those customers have a lot of money. So she already knew who she was working with, but told us that we were the victim, and the police were basically called because it was a bunch of black men. And this is what people don't understand. Just as this canvasser said in that video, they're actually canvassing for this very exact reason, to prevent black people from being targeted by police officers just like this. And what was so disgusting to me, that if you would have seen how many police officers were out there, changing,
attempting to bank while Black. And by the way, it's the way we do business around the world, but in America, so that you don't have to pay exorbitant fees and go to a check cashing place or whatever else you have to endure. They showed ID. You know who else has been the victim of that? A lot of us, including me over the years, identity theft, whatever. So I lock my credit report. Sometimes I just keep it locked unless I need additional credit. This is pathetic. And I want to know if there's any fallout. I'm so glad, but by now you're trained to do it, to go in rolling. Who exactly called? What was said? I wish we could get the recording of this vile, racist nonsense. And any response from Citizens Bank for this travesty.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I think, you know, knowing that what the employee told me, that she's the only person that works with Black customers, they send them to her intentionally. And I think to see what happened to us, and to see if what people didn't see in the other footage that we sent over was the white people in the bank that worked there were just going on about their business. None of them ever stopped and gave a damn about what they had just put these people through. One of my people sent me a text message and said, "I'm still traumatized. I'm nervous." Like, you know, like,
real talk.
And he was the one that was driving the van that was outside, and he had every right to be traumatized, because if you seen how the police cars were parked around them when I pulled up, it looked like they had just jumped out on them in a strange space. And we're talking about, these are 6 foot, 6'2", 3 Black men, and we got on Black shirts that say Black Male Voter Project, and not a single officer of color pulled up. So they were a second away, in American terms, from being killed for no other damn reason than trying to open a bank account.
That's not hyperbole. That's not, oh, Mayor, you're taking it too far. This is what happens. We've seen it. We've done stories on Indisputable. We've talked with people, I'm sure, on the Bullpen, who can't even get their own, they have an account and can't even get their own money from banks because of banking while Black. What's the recourse here, Mayor? What can be done? There should be repercussions here. I really believe there must be. But given who pulled up on the scene like some jump out boys and who was in the bank, yeah, of course they were just doing what they do because it is routine to them to disrespect Black people and put their lives in danger. What should be done here?
Yeah, I think, you know, right now what we're doing is I'm talking to the attorney to see how do we do a FOIA request for that phone call. I would love to hear that initial phone call. That conversation needs to be heard, because the officer outside told me something different than the officer inside. Plus, I want to have a conversation with the mayor of Pittsburgh about what we went through, because this is absolutely horrible behavior. And if Citizens is a product of Pennsylvania and this is how you treat Black people, I damn sure need to be telling Black people in Pennsylvania not to be banking at Citizen, because this behavior where you can hold our money and make money off our money and then treat us in this manner is absolutely disgusting, and it's a thing of the antebellum times.
No, sir. And I'm tired of the okie doke. We're not stupid. We know why you rolled up deep to the bank, because innocent doing good work, actually. That's probably the real crime too, is part of it, is the shirt you were wearing. Black male voter, the project to get out the vote and to let Black people know you have a voice. You know, that's a crime in many parts of America, Jim Crow style. And I hope, Mayor, as you request the call from whoever made it to attack these innocent young men who were doing good work, you also request the body cam footage if they have it, because that don't lie either if they don't destroy it. I want to know exactly about that conversation and the conversation they had with each other. How about that? Love to see that body cam footage and radio traffic too. I'm just so tired of this happening. I knew as I looked at some of this footage preparing for this, and having spoken to you several days ago, because you joined us for Indisputable. You were the special guest host, as you often are that day. And right before you were, you're never flustered, but I could sense you were going through something in your mind. It had just happened. So let's talk a little bit about that trauma.
Yeah, I think, for me, I just couldn't, I'm thinking these are some of these first time ever out of the wherever the area they live. Some of them from Alabama, some of them are from New York, some of them are from North Carolina, some of them are from Georgia, some of them are from California. But some of them never been on a bus or plane anywhere beyond school. So to have them all the way in Pittsburgh and be afraid that something could happen to them, I literally, when I got the first text message from the first one of them, I jumped up because of the app they use for work lets me know where their location is. I was able to find them and got straight over there where they were, and I told them like this, not on my watch, and I felt strong about that. So I think what you saw when I got on the call, got back to the room was. It was a sigh of relief, but also my insides crying because one of them damn boys could have got killed on my watch, and I would have never forgiven myself for trying to get people out to vote.
And Mayor, you said something that it breaks my heart. You said it a couple minutes ago, I believe. You said you felt responsible. Here you have had so many experiences around the world. You've been in the trenches, an activist, doing this great work. And part of you, your heart and soul, is leading and teaching and helping young Black men. And here you had said to them, you're going to have a bank account. It's a rite of passage. It's that you're helping. And you're right, this could have happened, but it breaks my heart that you had to feel responsible internally for something that should have been so routine. They should have been treated with respect and kindness and thank yous. As you said, the bank's going to use our money. It's all wrong. You got it all twisted here. And I'm glad you have the attorney. I'll give you the last word, Mayor, because I just don't understand. Do you want our money or not? Or only on terms where you can treat us like we're 3/5 of a citizen?
And I think that 3/5 is the notion. I mean, if we're being honest with how American history has shown us, here's what bothers me the most. This is the first invitation or the first on-ramp for some of these guys ever doing anything political. Some of them, like I said, didn't even register to vote until they came to work for the company. Now one of their first interactions with voting will be this situation. The racism of America has tainted something as mundane as knocking on doors for Black men. And that to me is bothersome, especially when we know it was followed by a racist incident that they dealt with in Michigan. So I think I'm bothered because I feel like I'm exposing some of my people to the horrors of America and taking them out of protected space where they've been their whole lives and never experienced anything like this, only to say you should be a part of the banking process in this country, only for them to be received with police officers questioning them if their employer sent them down here to open accounts. We're not doing nefarious acts. We're doing work to get rid of officers who think they need to talk to Black men in this patronizing way. And that's what's
Show me your slave papers. Why are you I'm in the bank to open an account. Why are you asking me these dumb questions? And I hate the fact that we even have to mention this. They were so respectful and so decent, even as they were being treated horrifically. And the popo showed up for no damn good reason. I hate that it doesn't matter, but they were very respectful, and them surely knew better, and that's just the kind of guys they are. But I am disgusted and heartbroken that these young men who are doing such great work were treated like this, Mayor. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think people think Black Male Voter Project is just a voting organization. These guys are a part of what we call our canvassing brigade. We take Black men from different spaces all over this country and try to introduce them into community, brothers all over the country doing and living in a way that is very similar to theirs. And what we're trying to do is tear down this idea that geography are the boundaries that define community. When your lived experience are similar to people, you should be considering those people as part of your community. So this is part of what this experiment is. But what it's muddied by is all of America's long, nasty history and long suffering and high tolerance for Black men suffering. And I think people forget that the communities and the barriers that we're trying to break down are those things that lead brothers to gangs and participating in underground economies, because these brothers would have never had this run-in with the interaction if they was doing something nefarious where they didn't need to put money in an account. And that's what bothers me. Even when Black men are trying to be upright, it's not enough for America. It's not enough.
Safety in numbers and a common shared experience. I am honored that you shared the story here exclusively on the Bullpen, Mayor. We thank you for your service, your good work, and please, I hope they won't quit, although they have every reason to say, I didn't sign up for this, but please send our best to them. Mayor Mondale Robinson, the Honorable Mayor of Enfield, North Carolina, Black Male Voter Project. Keep doing that good work. We salute you, sir. We salute you. Thank you. This is the Bullpen. Sharon Reed in for Dr. Ritchie. We hope you'll join us again.